And we have other platforms, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Citizens can reach us and lodge their complaints, and the Commission will respond immediately.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back to the Verdict Studios here. Before we go on to the discussion that we're having before, that was just getting momentum before the break. We're supposed to be talking to somebody up north.
Yes, I was talking to our correspondent, Pius Angbo from Benue. He's going to give us a situation report and just to feel the pulse of what's happening in that state.
I'm standing here at the CBN headquarters in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, to discuss the movement of sensitive electoral materials from here to the 23 local governments of the state. One of the issues you need to find out about the state is that it is large in landmass, and transportation would be a key issue in moving these materials. I have with me joining me the resident electoral commissioner for Benue State, Mr. Nentawe Yelwata. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, what arrangement have you made to move these materials on time to the 23 local government areas of the state?
As you can see already, we've set the security agencies are on ground to escort the materials, and there's a complete synergy between all the service chiefs and the police, who are the leading agency in providing security backup for our services to ensure that all the materials are safely delivered to their destination today. Also, our staff, artworks that we've already hired and trained, are already in the local government where we posted them. They're on standby, and on arrival, of course, they'll be posted straight to their polling units between their wards so that they can start electoral active preparation. The racks are set to accept them. The camps are set for people also. So I think by God's grace, things will be delivered, and by 8 o'clock we'll have polls open tomorrow.
Okay, like I said earlier, what security arrangements have you made to convey these things safely from here to the local government? Because recall that last week you had an attack on non-sensitive materials, and what you've done to prevent this, and can polls open at exactly 8 a.m. tomorrow?
Yes, like I said, there's a complete synergy between all the security agencies to ensure that nothing happened to a material on transit. And also, like I told you also, that there's a complete synergy also between the military, the Operation Wildstroke, and every other person who is involved, including INEC itself, also to ensure that we have a proper delivery of this equipment to material to their locations. But having said that also, like I said, the non-sensitive materials, none is lost on transit. All our materials are intact, none is lost, and everything is set.
Okay. Can you educate us lastly on the voting arrangement for internally displaced persons? I understand that 180,000 of them have fled to various camps. Can you give us a rundown on how to vote tomorrow for these people?
We have seven local government that will be involved in IDP voting. We have Goma local government, we have Logo local government, we have Kwande local government, we have Makurdi local government, we have Gwe West local government, we have APA, and then we have Agati local government. Also, local government will be involved in IDP voting. Now, what we've done is to ensure that we provide a safe place for them, a safe place that they can vote without molestation and intimidation, and anybody enforced to vote who they don't want. So we are providing an exclusive security for them so that they can be secured enough to vote the people of their choice. And we are doing that by providing what we call voting centers, where you can, it's close to their destinations where they're residing. Mark you, these people are also mobile, depending on where they feel they are more safer. So we are taking caution into all these variables to ensure that we factor the variable into our selection of where we want them to vote. And that we've done, and I'm sure by God's grace tomorrow they'll all have opportunity to vote people of their choice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, I'm now being joined also on the issues of security for this material by the Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Mr. Bumi Osoko. You would please talk to us about what exactly the police is doing with regards to providing security for these materials and election duty tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much. On our own part, we have made adequate preparation. Even as you're talking to me right now, our men are on standby. They are ready for movement to the 23 local governments and all other sensitive areas. As soon as they get the materials into the local governments concerned, Nigerian Police Force mobile personnel and special protection units, they are on ground. They will convey the materials with INEC officials to their various destinations.
Okay, I understand that from security quarters, Benue is profiled as one of the hotbeds in this election, considering the background, the build up to this election because of the issues of herdsmen, farmers, and other crimes in the state. Have you taken this into cognizance and are prepared for any eventualities?
No, quite honestly, we are ready. It's not about the Nigerian Police Force. It is an interagency approach. The military, Operation Wide Stroke, other agencies, sister agencies, civil defense, etc., etc. We are all on ground. Even as I talk to you, they've all been, taken to their respective places of assignment. That will not be a problem. We've done adequate security threat, and by the grace of God, when we are on ground, we are encouraged. I can tell you, we are on top of the situation. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You have heard from the security perspective about the safety of elections in Benue State tomorrow. We're expecting that when we go to the field tomorrow, same will translate to action. Also, the resident electoral commissioner has talked very well about IDPs in Benue State, over 180,000 of them having the opportunity to cast their ballot in favor of their preferred candidates. As we join them tomorrow, details of this voting will be brought to you to show exactly what they have said translated into action. From Makurdi, the Benue State capital, Pius Angbo reporting for Channels Television News.
Thanks a lot, Pius. They're giving us a rundown of just what is going to transpire there in Makurdi, talking about the voting centers and where they're located. And that's one of the questions that I was going to put to our panelists over there in Abuja, Mrs. Pt.4. You talked about some of the areas which you couldn't get to, and that led us to wonder what will happen, with voting materials and all the logistics in that area. And the bigger question, we've heard from Pius what's going to happen in Benue. What about other camps around the country? INEC did say that there will be voting points that will be located.
Voting centers.
Voting centers. Where are they located? Are they within the camp or slightly outside the camp? It's a little bit hazy. So from the experience that you have, can you tell us any issue that you had trying to get into IDP camps, or any information that you have about those who will be wanting to vote in those areas?
Okay, the experience we've had as political parties, getting access into the IDP camps is not a challenge, but about where they are, I may not be able to answer that. We have actually asked the INEC to provide us with details of this new polling unit. And when we were asked to go back to our state, I've spoken to a couple of our state chairmen, and there is no clear-cut document to show that these are the new polling units, that especially those in the ID camps. So I may not be able to answer that categorically. And it has been a cause of concern for us as political parties, because we need to know where these polling units are, who are those people in these polling units, so we can monitor the votes in those polling units. So I really do not have an answer for that at the moment.
But for the areas that you couldn't get to, which we were speaking about on the other side of our break, what do you think is going to happen there? Did any other group try to get there? And because the idea is to find out whether all the voting materials and etc. will get to every area. For the areas that you talked about, what is the fate? Do you know?
Well, I'll expect the profs to answer that, because they are the ones that, we are the politicians. We are about getting votes. They are the one monitoring the process. Of course, we are concerned about the process as well, because if the process is not what it should be, then we might not have a credible election. That is a priority for us at IPAC and as political parties. But the details about how they're going to be deployed and all that, we only have a sketchy information about that. We don't have definite information, so I'll rather let the professors, who this is what they do, they've been monitoring it for years, they probably have a better answer to that question.
The eve of the election and information is still sketchy. So
Now there's cause for trepidation.
No, don't go too deep yet. Let's be hopeful.
Okay.
But I'll get back to Professor Dinkalu in a bit. Let me just bring in Malaki here to look at this matter, because you are from your Center for the Defense of Human Rights. That's your organization, right? Yeah. I said I'll get back to Professor Dinkalu because that angle of human rights, has been monitoring that for a while, and he's continuing to push on that. But let's look at this. We hear about the hotspots. We hear about the IDPs and the fact that they deserve to exercise their franchise. But they're not sure. Nobody can say exactly, is it within or is it outside? Nobody can say exactly. We have reports. Different organizations have come up with different reports about you can't go here, you can't go there. There's even rumors going around that there's going to be some kind of raids in some towns. So the electorate is somewhat confused. What's happening? Where are we going? Is that a source of concern?
The poverty of the situation is that at the moment, I had thought that the argument would have been much more elevated other than what we have now. It's been in the front burner years before now that there's even the need for voting in diaspora. In other words, we ought to have concluded in capturing all manner of persons, whether in comfort zones or in IDPs or in flashpoints. The argument at the moment is whether Nigerians in diaspora ought to participate in determining the sovereign will of our people. So I feel pained, I feel...
But if we can't even even if the ones who are here cannot participate, how do you talk about the ones in diaspora?
I think you are merely emphasizing what I'm saying, to say that it is bad enough that we're not even capturing all around the world. We're saying that those within the territory of Nigeria, for one reason or the other, don't fully understand their fate. Having said that, let us also ask the question, how do we, in the first place, come about these IDP camps? None of them is given enough time to carry his or her luggages to run to IDP. Many of them were on the spur of the moment, scampering into safety to save their lives in the first place. Some were driven overnight, in the dead of the night, by violent insurgent groups. So the first issue is, how many of them do even have their voters' card? Was it a priority to go look for their voters' card or get one, or even take steps to recover one if they lost it? So that issue is by the way. I make the point that one would have thought that INEC, being the election monitoring body, will have anticipated that a big chunk of Nigerian population, for no cause of theirs, now find themselves within these camps and centers. If you check the constitution of our country, it specifies a qualification of whoever will be eligible to vote. The fact that these people are in IDP camps does not foreclose their right to exercise their civic responsibility. And so the feelers one is getting is that INEC has done quite a lot to put into consideration the situation of eligible voters. And mark my word, eligible voters, those that have what it takes to vote, including the PVC, as I've earlier said. But I would think that there ought to be a clearer indication of what must happen regarding so many others whose fates are not yet determinable. I just watched your clip before we came in here and saw people with visual impairment, describing in details how they could be part of the process. None of such would have happened except there is some conscious, deliberate effort on the part of INEC to bring them within the picture and in the whole process. So I think that moving forward, and of course we are talking about tomorrow and possibly subsequent elections, INEC should do a lot more sensitization to be able to get these people, capture them properly within what they can possibly do in the circumstance that they find themselves. Because they are still Nigerians, they are still eligible, they are qualified. And the fact that they find themselves, unfortunately, in ID camps should not foreclose their rights to participate in this process.
Thank you very much, Malaki. Now, I understand that...
Our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, is in Adamawa.
Yes, and that's, of course, Adamawa being the home state of one of the two front runners for tomorrow's presidential elections. Larry, there he is. What can you tell us is happening in that area, Larry? Larry,